It's looking like it's going to be like 100-1.
Yeah. I think the numbers look really
crazy,
solid.
which is crazy. Now it's right on par with some of our best setters. So it's working as well as our top performing reps at this point. And I mean, I can only see it getting better from there. So right now, like I said, we have over 1,200 applicants right now, and they're coming in by the second. My phone's blowing up with new resumes coming in. And it's literally just for air at this point. Like, all those people are going to be running appointments that we bring in. Right now, we kind of had to throttle down. We couldn't keep up with what was being provided. So we're taking care of what needs to be done on our end, so to kind of release that bottleneck and be able to run as much as we can. So, I mean, right now, with the return on ad spend being what it is for us particularly, it's basically like you want to swipe the card and it seems like it's going to print money. So
one of the co-founders with me, I have Kaylin, who is in solar. He's been using it for a bit. So just going to dive in and break down some results we've been having so far, and kind of context in the business and what you're using it for. So I mean, really quick, Kaylin, obviously you're in solar, but can you just kind of break down briefly like the type of solar you run, kind of the sales process you guys been doing, and what you guys been doing before you started using?
Like in solar, like it's predominantly based around like the door-to-door model. So that's kind of like how everybody does their thing. That's how we got started as well. Looking back about 12 months, we actually started to kind of go into the virtual space. So like over the phone type sales. Did that because obviously with door-to-door, it's not scalable, right? I mean, it is, but it's not infinitely scalable. You're based upon like being in a certain geographical location. You got to have somebody move there or hire somebody from there. So you're limited and there's constraints. And being able to work more remote and being able to work regardless of the location, it allows for a lot more prospective, people to bring into the business to work with you. And it allows you to sell in multiple markets and that you're not actually physically located in as well. And so what we did was we started doing like just it ourselves. When we started small, so basically like I was trying it out, like figuring out the tweaks of like what scripting might work to kind of get towards doing this at a larger scale. And just was doing using an auto dialer, readymode.com, basically just running through lists of cold data and aged leads and things of that nature. Moved up into doing call centers using VAs and things of that nature. And it started going really, really well. We scaled up. We were doing more so than we were just prior to that when we were doing the more in-person physical sales. And that's because obviously with virtual, you can double, triple book yourself because you don't got to be in 2-3 places at once. And so if one no-shows, then you have another one ready on the back of your pocket. And so that allows us to sit in front of people that are ready, willing, and able to buy much, much more. And with the call centers, it was going great. Centers is management, training, and all those things take up a lot of time. And obviously, like, when you're dealing with offshore VAs, sometimes they have internet connection issues, things of that nature as well. And so these are all like barriers that you're having to overcome to be able to do it at scale and at a much more a rapid rate than even we can handle. And at this point, like, we have to kind of turn it off because like we don't have the guys to be able to keep up with the amount of appointments that are coming in. So it's working out really, really well. Right now we're doing tons of interviews to be able to keep up because it's bringing in much more than was originally expected, and it's working out great.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. You texted me yesterday that you've gotten like 600 or like 1,000 applicants now of interviewing your closers to start scaling up to meet the capacity. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So curious, obviously when we first started booking appointments for you guys, how have the appointment quality, the close rates, the cash been versus like your human setters you're using previously?
So I think with anything, like whether it be like, I don't know, maybe with the bot, with the air, or with like a human, like there's always going to be a bit of a learning curve, I'm assuming. I mean, I might be talking wrong about that, but at first it was pretty comparable. Like our cost per appointment was actually lower, and then with us paying commission to actual reps, it was a lot lower to acquire a customer. Show ratio was a little bit less at first, but then it started to really ramp up as we kind of tweaked the scripting, and then like I believe as it's starting to learn as well, it's like retroactively like improving its performance. And so now it's right on par with some of our best setters. So it's working as well as our top performing reps at this point. And I mean, I can only see it getting better from there.
Dude, that's awesome to hear. And yeah, even Halifax improved and now match the top reps. That's definitely cool to see.
Yeah.
I'm actually curious, kind of coming into it, did you think AI would actually be able to like do that, like do as well as humans?
I had high hopes, but I was kind of unsure what to expect. I didn't really have any expectations. I just thought sounded really, really interesting. I know that, with all the AI stuff that's been coming out the past few years, it's where the world's going. And so like staying ahead of the curve is obviously going to be huge for any industry. And then like working with the companies kind of on the forefront of this, you're only going to be positioning yourself to be in a very strong position as, this does get a bigger foothold on the industry as, time rolls on and it becomes more as opposed to like an early adoption, as like a mass adoption thing. So
Right.
get on the train before the train leaves the station.
Good, yeah, good words of wisdom. But so I'm curious, obviously you're scaling the team up now, we're starting to ramp things hard. Before you started using AI to do appointment booking, how many appointments were you guys say averaging on like a weekly basis?
It depends. So if we're working cold data, it's a little bit less. But when we're working like aged leads, which is primarily what we're using for our virtual assistants, we're typically getting we have 15 full-time VAs for our team specifically, and we're bringing in anywhere between like 75 to 100 appointments a day.
Nice. And then I'm curious, what is like over the past few months, year or so, what has like stopped you up until now to scaling up to 400 a day, 500 a day, 1,000 a day?
Really, it's been more so than something that we've been working on. So we went full virtual in April, and so we were half virtual from December into April, and so it's really just been kind of more so learning the ins and the outs of we had some problems with like one of our vendors, and so that was one thing that prevented us. Cash flow was a problem at one point because we were pumping $20,000-$30,000 a month into a call center, and then we weren't getting paid for our services, and so that was a big problem. Is that put a pretty big dramatic hold on things. Now we're with so in solar, like there's a lot of different installation services that you can work with, and it's a pretty unregulated industry. And if anybody's listening to this and they're in solar, they probably know what I'm talking about. And finding a good company to have a solid foundation to build upon is huge. And so we had found that, and at this point, it really just came down to
I gotta also clarify a little bit. As in, obviously, you've been running human centers. You started booking appointments and kind of scaling up recently, and now you're going through. You told me you had 1,200 applicants for closers. You're going through interviews. Like from a human perspective, you mentioned management, like having to find people. Like what I guess stopped you from scaling the humans? That
management's huge. So it's like one big thing is like having the people to be able to support these virtual setters that are out there. Being able to answer their questions, being able to run and conduct weekly trainings for them, continued education, keeping them, in a positive mental frame of mind. All of those things, like just having quality management and leadership for these people. That's one big thing, is because management gets to be a task, and you can be a great manager and you might only be able to manage 12 to 15 people. And so that's one of the biggest things, is like the training, the learning curve for people getting brought in, and the hands-on time that it requires to get them from point A to point B. And then the management on top of that to keep them going as they're, continually progressing throughout their career. It just allows it to be infinitely more scalable.
Yeah. And for you guys, what's like the goal to scale it to over the next 90 days?
To the moon. Yeah. So right now, like I said, we have over 1,200 applicants right now, and they're coming in by the second. My phone's blowing up with new resumes coming in. And right now we kind of had to throttle down on it because we couldn't keep up with what was being provided. So we're taking care of what needs to be done on our end, so to kind of release that bottleneck and be able to run as much as we can. So, I mean, right now with the return on ad spend being what it is for us particularly, it's basically like you want to swipe the card and it seems like it's going to print money. So,
yeah, that's definitely a good situation to be in business-wise, when you can put a dollar in and get a lot of dollars out.
A lot of dollars out. Return on ad spend right now is looking like it's going to be like 100 to 1.
Yeah. I think the numbers look really
crazy.
solid.
Which is crazy.
So for you guys, obviously the return you guys have with the spend you have in the air platform is really solid overall. As you guys scale up appointment volume, you mentioned when to scale like 200 a day. How much revenue would you guys be able to be pacing in like the next 90 days or so?
And next, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what the revenue is for the next 36 to 90 days that we're looking at. I was looking at scaling up to basically having a year. If we get up to 15 closers, very easily attainable. We're going to be at 15 closers here really soon. We fill up their calendar, basically running 5 appointments a day. We should be on track for 36 million in payable commissions, and in gross revenue, much more than that, 36 million in payable commissions. So,
wow, that's awesome, dude. And then, how much you guys doing currently?
we're probably sitting around like in payable commissions to the entire team at the company. It's like right for this particular team about 7 to 8. So it's going to be a lot.
So literally a 5x.
Yeah.
Next year, let's see scale.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's going to be crazy. And it's much smaller team too. So yeah, it'll be good.
Sweet. Well, dude, excited to help you scale and see you crush this thing. Like you said, let's take this thing to the moon.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you for your time.